I think we should have placed this after the Angela Merkel segment in Germany, because Uber is looking to take off and connect customers worldwide, this time to helicopters. The $18 billion logic car service app has no ceiling, so why are lawmakers looking to block that? Hadley, now helicopters. What do you think?
I think this is great, Neil. I'm an Uber user myself, and I appreciate that Uber has brought a better way to do something to the market, and that's called creative destruction. It happens in all industries. They're taking the place in some cities of traditional taxis. Sometimes they share the market with traditional taxis, but the taxistas do not like it. They don't like the competition. That's why there's trouble. But
now the helicopters, can I book my own helicopter, Kaylee? Is that the idea?
I'm sure you can. Yeah, I like this new helicopter entrance into the market, and I think Uber is a fantastic company, Lyft as well. And, you know, very rarely will I quote Ashton Kutcher in respectable segments like this one, but he called the attempt to outlaw these companies mafioso, and I tend to agree. Why stifle out private enterprise? Let them flourish and let the market work.
Let me just get this straight. I know you're young and hip, but you're now quoting Ashton Kutcher as a source?
That's right. Okay, mafioso.
Scott, I'm just wondering where the helicopter thing would come in, because the protesters are now claiming, wait a minute, this is a safety issue. It's one thing for them to be on the ground, stealing jobs away from traditional taxis and limos. It's quite another when they're up in the air. I don't know where the safety issue comes into play here, though.
Well, it is scary to have all these things suddenly flying over our heads. I think that's a quote actually from Mila Kunis. But you know what, Neil, here's the issue. If lawmakers don't like this company, which, by the way, is now the most valuable startup in the world, over another company, yeah, it is, over another company that lawmakers don't like, Airbnb, by several billion, by the way. So the one way this will go away, guess what, is if consumers stop consuming, and they're not, because I, too, sweep it, love Uber.
Oh, I get it there where you're going. Well, you know what's going to happen? This happens all the time. Headaches pile up for a promising upstart, and they try to nip at its heels bit by bit and drag it down. Is that what we're witnessing here?
Look, do you remember the report that Amazon was coming out with a new delivery service so that they could deliver within 30 minutes in a little tiny helicopter straight to your door? When companies come up with a new, innovative way to do something, yes, sometimes that means that our lawmakers have to figure out, how are we going to regulate this? How are we going to permit the helicopter drivers that or the helicopter pilots that take people around on these Uber choppers? You know, we can figure it out, but it doesn't mean that we have to put the kibosh on these great new ideas.
Well, sometimes great new ideas are stealing patents and recognized trademarks and agreements when they have to air it. Remember that with free broadcast service you get online, and the Supreme Court slapped them down and said, you can't do that, right? Yeah. So is there any issue like that here, Kaylee, or no?
No, this is just outrage from the taxis, from public employees. You look at the New York City Taxi Commission, I believe it was 2012, raised taxi fares by 17%. That hurts consumers. Consumers need reprieve. Uber brings reprieve, Lyft brings reprieve. It frees up the market, and that's what we need. This is solely about public employees.
Guys, I also want to step back from here and just say the disconnect in the markets. Some look at the markets and what's been happening with the underlying economy. Scott, you do this for a living, follow it closely. Is there a disconnect, or do markets traditionally climb a wall of worry?
They definitely climb a wall of worry, Neil. And the more people that you hear don't believe in this market, the more reason you should at home believe in it. But listen, at some point the chickens are going to come home to roost. It's just a matter of when. And the economy is slowly getting better, so that's helping the markets kind of stay where they are right now.
You know, Hadley, a lot of people in the White House, the ones who talk to me, including the gardener and the chef, immediately let me know, Neil, if we're so anti-capitalist, then why have the markets more than doubled under President Obama's stewardship? You say what?
I say, look, our economy is bifurcated. Part of it is recovering. We see good markets, but we also see on the other side very low labor force participation. It's really hard for people who've been out of work for a long time. They still haven't come back into the workforce. So it's a different perspective. Many Americans, 74% in a Fox News poll, said they believe that it feels like we're still in a recession. So capitalism isn't just big business succeeding. It's small business.
Your generation particularly, actually all of your generation, very leery about it. Very leery, not trusting.
And we should be. We still have double-digit unemployment. I think it's hovering around 15%. You look at the amount of Americans who feel they're in the middle.
For young people.
For young people, that's right. And you look at, for the average American, 1/5 no longer believe they're in the middle class from the start of Obama's presidency. That, to me, is the biggest statistic. People are hurting.